Hello, and welcome to a quick demonstration of the Enterprise Vault Suite. Over the next 8 minutes or so, we will show you how you can use the Enterprise Vault Suite for data remediation. Specifically, we will be using the Enterprise Vault Suite to delete information that hasn't been interacted with for over a 36-month period on the old files file share that exists on our Windows file server in our lab. We will also have a report generated for each file that we will go ahead and expire. And we will do this in an audited, defensible manner based on policy. So let's get to it. So here we have our old files file share, and within it, we will see that we've got a bunch of old data in here. This is information that hasn't been accessed, modified, created, or interacted with in any possible way for quite a few number of years. This data has outlived its usefulness and is no longer bound by any retention requirement by the organization at all. And thus it is safe to delete. And so how will we do that? Well, we will leverage the Enterprise Vault Suite to do that. And specifically, we're going to be leveraging the Data Insight module of Enterprise Vault Suite to conduct this task. Data Insight is a file analysis tool that goes out and scans information and takes that information, the metadata, the permissions history, the access history, as well as the content classification of those files, and embeds them within an application that allows you to run reports and remediation against that specific data. And so we are going to run the inactive data by file group report to go ahead and remediate our old data. And so we're going to create a new report, and we're going to call it inactive data for deletion from the old files share. We'll create a copy in HTML format and CSV. We will configure it to do this against all files in that particular share. And we will target information that has been inactive for 36 months. So we're going to go ahead and select the old files file share itself, and then conduct some remediation actions against it. Specifically, what we're going to do is we're looking for deletion. We want to actually discard these items. And we also want to ensure the original items get deleted. So we're going to save and run this report. So the first thing that's going to happen is that a report is going to run against the old files file share and give us an output of all the files that haven't been interacted with in a 36-month period. And typically for a report like this, it only takes seconds. So as we can see, the reports are already completed. Take a quick look at the HTML copy of the report, and we can see here that in the old files file share, we've targeted 24 files that meet the criteria of inactive over a 36-month period. So these files have not been interacted with for over 36 months. And so we've got a list of every single file here. This report has also gone ahead and initiated a deletion job against all of these files. So now we've got a report on everything that's about to get deleted by policy based upon this particular report. So we can go take a quick look at the status of that deletion job right now. Do that by going to the settings, action status, and we can see that our deletion job here is in progress. And so what we'll do, this will take a couple of minutes. So we'll come back here in a couple of minutes and take a look and see if our job has been successful. We can see here that 24 files have been listed for deletion. Let's go take a closer look at the report and some of the options that are available to you in that report, because these reports don't necessarily have to be only about file deletion. There's a lot of different types of reports that you can create with Data Insight. And essentially, these reports are also very highly customizable. And so with these reports, you can target information based on its metadata, based on its permissions, based on its activity history, or based on its content classification. And slice and dice these reports in any way that might make sense for you and your organization's particular use cases. So let's dive into the report that we did create and kind of walk through some of the options that are available for you. So at a high level, you can create the report and create different formats, different outputs for this report, CSV, PDF, or HTML. are options that are available to you. You can choose to share this report with others, and so others can log into the console and see the report or trigger this report themselves. Or if you prefer, maybe just copy the report out to some network location where perhaps a manager or an auditor can have the evidence that this report actually ran and see exactly what was in scope of the report themselves without necessarily having to access the data insight application itself. As we saw here, we ran this report ad hoc on demand as we created it. We can, of course, schedule this report to run as often as you wish. You could run it on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, specific day of the month, or you can even create a custom cron job to run this report based on a variety of environmental parameters, which is also very useful. When it comes to the configuration of the report itself, we can configure the report to run against all files we have in this particular situation, but perhaps we only want to run this against Office files or temp files or text files, or perhaps all three. And so there's a lot of configuration capabilities that are available for you to be able to very much target exactly what it is you're looking to do. We can even go by extension, should you so choose. When it comes for the time range of an activity, this can be based on things like hours, days, months, or years. And when it comes to the selection of what it is we want to run this report against, here again, a fair amount of granularity exists. We can select all physical resources that is being scanned by the data insight application, or we can go in and select a share or multiple shares, or even go down to the folder level and select a specific folder. You can even upload a CSV of a bunch of paths that we want scanned as part of this report and targeted by this report. On the remediation side of things, we have a number of remediation options that are available to you. By invoking Enterprise Vault, we've selected to actually go ahead and delete information using this report, but we could very well decide to potentially archive this information for a specific period of time based on the retention policy that we set up. And so we can keep items forever, for 7 years, for 3 years, for as long as it makes sense for you and your organization. We could then do post-processing actions on the original file itself. And so we can choose to delete the original file, create a shortcut that points to the archived copy so that when an end user goes to that particular file share to go and recover that file, to interact with it or email it off for some business purpose, he still has access to that file. And the way in which he interacts with that file doesn't necessarily have to change should you choose archiving. And then lastly, we've got the option to do no post-processing action whatsoever. And so what we do in this particular situation is that we take a copy of that file and place it in the archive and set retention on it. And thus we take a preservation copy, perhaps for legal purposes, to ensure that we do have a copy should we need it, and it's sitting in the archive to be discovered. But we can go beyond Enterprise Vault. We also have some custom options that are available to you, custom scripts that we've created as an organization that you can inject within Data Insight to provide other means of being able to remediate against the data that gets outputted by this particular report. We have things like deletion scripts, copy scripts, move scripts, possibility of even modifying files that exist within our custom actions. So we have a whole host of different types of things that we can have occur on the file set that gets outputted from this particular report. So now let's quickly take a look to see if our files have in fact been deleted, and sure enough, all of them are gone except for this one file, the only fresh file that existed in the bunch. And as we can see, this file does not meet the criteria of being inactive for more than 36 months, and so it remained behind. However, all of the 24 other files on this share have been deleted. And so when we go look back to our original use case of being able to expire information older than 36 months from the old file share on WinServer, we can say that this particular use case has been confirmed. I hope that this has been an insightful short demo for you. And if there's any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Veritas. It'll be our pleasure to talk to you more about the Enterprise Vault Suite. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great day.